How's it going, guys? Jackson here with Toasty DIY, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Fluval Flex 32.5 gallon tank. So far I have had really good luck with this tank. I've had it set up now for, I want to say, about 2 weeks, and I've upgraded my freshwater tank about 3 or 4 times now. I actually started down here with a 5 gallon and then went to a 10 or 15 gallon paludarium. And then I bought a used, I want to say 22 gallon BioCube tank, and now I'm here. So yeah, 32.5 gallon. I had a couple reasons for switching to this one. One is I like the fact that it's actually glass, so it's scrapable. I was not a fan of acrylic. They do have some pretty decent acrylic cleaners like this scraper here that you can just put a credit card in. It's really a smart idea, but sadly, I don't know if it's just because the tank was used or what, but it was very, very hard to scrape. And also it was a bow front rather than going up and down, which you're scraping up and down with a flat scraper that might be this wide. It was bowed this way, so when I'm scraping, you know, it's really hard to actually get a full surface coverage. You're only scraping the edges of what you're doing. So I like the fact this one curves this way. It definitely adds a pretty interesting effect. It makes it to where I'd say it's a little bit easier to see straight down, but yeah, definitely makes it look a little bit like, I guess you could say, skinnier when you look at it from the side. It makes it look like it's not deep at all. So really it's like the side viewing angles are great, but let's be real, you're mainly viewing from the front, and if you do want to view through the sides, you get pretty good coverage on the sides here with these nice flat panels. But then before with my tank, it was kind of just a curve almost all the way around, so it was really hard to view. You had to be in the perfect spot. But yeah, the tank itself has a couple cool features. Like, one is a very easy open lid for just feeding your fish. It also, you can put a auto fish feeder here if you want. I think it actually has some that are recommended for this exact tank and this exact spot. You also have a couple of ports back here that you can take off, or I guess you could leave them off if you wanted to, but you can also just quick access them, and it's really hard to see, so I'm gonna get my phone light out so you guys can kind of see what's going on in here. You definitely get a good amount of condensation on the lid, but that's to be expected because you have almost no evaporation in this tank. It's a very, very slow evaporation, but it comes with its own pump that has a pretty good flow rate. I don't think it's adjustable. I have I think a 100-watt heater kind of hanging back there. Here is our filter floss. Now these filters are pretty cool how they work. So you can kind of see in here, I got a little bit of haze for sure, a little bit of buildup, but basically you just lift up from here and the filter comes out in one piece. And they're in my opinion, a little bit rudimentary. I know it's one of the first things a lot of people upgrade, is the way that this tank works. Well, the first thing a lot of people upgrade is the filtration, because the way that this tank works is on each side you have 2 really big grates, one up top and one at the bottom, and basically that filter I was just showing you goes pretty much all the way to the bottom, and it basically just sucks water in to where the pump is, and then it goes back out through this power head, or well, really it's a return, which you can see right up here. It just has 2 heads, 2 nozzles that you can point whatever directions you want. And the reason why this filtration is not the greatest is it's really not any better than just having like a hang on the back filter, because there's nothing really separating the, I guess you could call it, like, this really should be like a sump or an overflow is what I'd call it, but it's really not. It's literally just pulling the water in through there. So a lot of the water ends up going around the filter. Once they get clogged, obviously a lot of it just, you know, naturally is going to not be filtered. And also with the way it's designed, you basically have, I think it's like activated charcoal up top or something, or something along those lines, and then at the bottom you have your ceramic. And because it can go through the top and the bottom, it literally just goes through one or the other. It's not really going through both. But obviously with enough cycles, you know, naturally it's probably going to go through both eventually. It's just not the most efficient though. Ideally, you'd probably want 2 separate chambers, you know what I mean? You really wouldn't want these the bottom to be open at all. You'd want most of the flow to come through, have to go through the activated charcoal, then through the biomedia, whatever you may have, like if it's ceramic, and then into your return. And so they actually sell just drop-in replacements for those little foam filters I just showed you guys. So there's definitely some cool options out there. I might explore those eventually, but for now, I'm just gonna run the stock setup because you know, to be fair, this is mostly new water. It's about half and half new and half used water that was from the old tank. And so far, as you can see, I have very minimal algae growing in the glass. I'm starting to get like some that's kind of hard to see. You can definitely see it from here, a little bit on the sides. But you know, so far it's been pretty impressive as far as the filtration goes, but obviously we'll have to give it some time. We'll have to let some of the natural bacteria and algae grow, and then we'll see. Then I might think a lot differently. Now another thing before we kind of go into the just talking about the, you know, what I have in the tank, just more of the personal stuff. Two more things that I don't really love about the tank. One is this lid. I'm gonna do my best to lift here. There's no hinges or anything, and there's no stop. You have these back here, which kind of make it to where, like, so I can tip the lid up all the way and I can rest against the wall. However, if you don't have a wall, or you don't have, I guess, a good place to put this, it kind of sucks, because you have to take the lid off to do any maintenance to your tank, whether it's adding fish or cleaning. The lid pretty much just needs to come off, and when I do this, it kind of just blinds me, and then I can't see in the tank, so you have to turn the light off, or yeah, it's a little inconvenient. I wish they had something, because like this is nice, like I can get to everything here. I wish they just had like a nice mechanism to hold it up. I feel like something could be pretty easily fabricated yourself if you wanted to do that. But that's just me. Now, and another feature I do like is I kind of like how they added this, I guess you call it like blinding almost. It's really just like a honeycomb layer that really helps kind of hide like the water line and some of the like equipment and stuff. So I like that a lot. But let's go ahead and just go over some of the stuff that I actually have in the tank now that we've kind of talked about the tank. Like I said, no major issues here. I definitely like a lot of things so far. There's a couple of things I don't love, but other than that, it's pretty nice. So inside the tank, I have just some basic stuff. So we have like a driftwood that was screwed into like a piece of slate or something along those lines. Two shells that are clearly from Florida or something like that, that I kind of just have sitting in there. I think that rock is from my yard, and then this rock is, you know, just some type of aquarium rock that I got not too long ago, around when I started the first tank. And then I just bought this. It's some sort of like seaweed or seagrass that you could just kind of put down in there. It floats very easily, so I had to kind of use the rocks to sandwich it. As far as my substrate goes, I just have this really basic, just kind of like pea gravel, just various sizes. And then underneath, you can kind of see some black peering through. That's that really nice, I want to say it's called fluorite. It's basically like a clay of sorts that's really good for your plants. It helps the, you know, gives a lot of nutrients, and your plant's roots like to really grow into it. And then a couple more rocks over there, which has some of these, I really can't remember. I think a good amount of these are just from around my house pretty much that I found. I do have a sponge filter in the back there that I don't think I might have cleaned like one time within probably about the last 6 to 8 months at least. So it's probably due for a good you know, scrubbing soon in like some RO water or something. But yeah, definitely helps with the filtration, and it adds a nice amount of bubbles and movement. So I really like having something that, you know, besides just the power head to kind of agitate the water, and especially to help get some air bubbles into the water. Now, I have a pretty good amount of shrimp. I did have a good amount more, but I'm assuming some of them kind of gone through the life cycle, or, you know, and I've probably lost some. But at one point I had about 30 because I originally bought 3. Very quickly they had babies. And I think that would have been in my paludarium. In my paludarium they had babies, and I had around 30 is my guess. But yeah, most of them are pretty big now. Like, you know, they're all around that size, or like one of these two guys here. And those are just like red cherry shrimp. I'm trying to see if I have any small ones. I did have, here's a pretty small one right there. You can barely even see. He's just like swimming through the water right there. And then I know I usually have a good amount kind of in these plants and stuff like that. They really love sponge filters. They love plants. There's a pretty small one right about there. He's pretty hard to see too. But yeah, I don't have any like super duper small ones anymore. I did have some really like almost microscopic. They almost look like mosquito larvae or something. But sadly, I think most of those have kind of grown up or maybe even gotten eaten. But I have pretty small fish. So I have 6 new tetras, or sorry, not tetras, guppies. These are guppies, if I can find one again. So some of them have actually they're starting to kind of school. Funny enough, with I think these are tetras. They're either tetras or rasboras. I can never remember. But I bought these 3 originally with it was either my 5-gallon, like one of my first ones, or it was the paludarium. And yeah, they get along surprisingly well with these guppies. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I see I got 1, 2, let's see, 3, 4. There's 4 of the guppies, and then 5. And then 6, there's one. Oh, no, that's not a guppy, actually. I forgot, I do have a few. Oh, there's the other one. I do have a few of these little, what are they, like Cory catfish. Some sort of really small Cory. I think they're like a pygmy, like mini Cory catfish or something along those lines. So those guys are pretty cool. I have a few just like mystery snails. This one over here is zooming on the wall. But yeah, really nice tank. And then I bought this plant, which was tiny when I bought it. Like it was you know, about the size of this stuff or smaller, and that has absolutely taken off to the point that I probably might need to trim some soon, or maybe find a way to like propagate it if there is a way, and you know, get it to grow some other spots. And then there's a couple of spots that have like some string algae. That's super glue or hot glue if you're wondering. I used to have like a little waterfall in the paludarium, but yeah, everything seems like it's doing pretty well. I'm probably due for like a little bit of a water top off soon. I actually have not. This tank really holds in water well, which is a good thing and a bad thing. I don't have to top it off as often, but they say you should have some, you know, air exchange, a little bit of evaporation to kind of help, you know, with algae growth and stuff like that, and just keeping the water aerated and healthy. But you know, that's why, like I said, I could take this off if I wanted to and help with that a little bit. Maybe I will eventually, but yeah, it's nice not having to top off the water every few days. I have not topped it off at all so far. And it's been, like I said, going for about 2, maybe 3 weeks now. And I think I started, it was maybe up to like here. So it's barely evaporated. And yeah, the only other thing I really want to talk about, here's the actual air pump for anyone who's curious. But the only other thing I really want to talk about, because I think I've gone over most of the, like what's inside the tank and everything. I wanted to show you guys the actual app. So it's Fluval Smart, and I already got it pulled up here. And as you can see, I've had a few of these devices. Like I had a 27 watt one for my first 45 gallon saltwater. Surprisingly a good light. I mean, it really was not designed for any type of coral growth, but it definitely, you know, it kept coral alive. Then I had this 46 watt one, which is now on Zach's new one. And that one was pretty impressive. It had a lot of blue LEDs on it. It still wasn't like, you know, it's not like the Hydra 32s I have upstairs. I have 3 of those in my tank, but those are like, you know, $400 a piece lights. Here's the new one, which I don't really know how many watts this one is. I'm assuming it's around 27, give or take. And so if I put it back to auto, it's gonna go into night mode, which I have set up, and I'll show you guys what that looks like because we're pretty much wrapping up the video anyways. But oh, there we go. Yeah, for some reason that was acting really weird. It like did not want to do weather. Yeah, I don't think these are really the healthiest for your fish tanks. Probably like, I don't know if fish are prone to seizures, but I definitely wouldn't use these very often, but they're cool to show people. So anyways, let's go back to the auto. So right now, I'm filming this video pretty late, by the way. It's 9:30 p.m. And as you can see, I like how you set this. So you can set your colors and stuff here. So as you can see, once nighttime hits, I have it at about 5%, and that's that, you see that blue line right there, and then it kind of continues to right here. So I think it's basically from about, I don't know, maybe about 8 o'clock p.m. I'm not great with military time, so I'm kind of guessing here. Around 8 o'clock p.m., the lights go off. You just have the 5% blue LED, and they turn off around, I want to say midnight or a little after, and then all the way up until about 6 a.m. I have nothing, and you can actually preview this. So we're starting off right now, no light whatsoever. I'm going to hold the camera here the best I can. It's no light. Let me speed this up. Here we go. All right, so now it's 6 o'clock. Sunset's happening. And then we're just about to full intensity right about here. So that's full intensity. We do full intensity for, let's see, so from 10 to, so for about, what would that be, 7 hours full intensity, which you could definitely do less, especially if you're having algae problems. Then we come down and we're right, I think right now it's probably about here in terms of the time. Yep. But yeah, so the app's super easy to use. I definitely like it. You can even go to like the pro settings and do some other pretty crazy stuff. But honestly, this is in every tank I've had with these Fluval lights, I just use the auto, and you can find some pretty good maps online of what people recommend. I kind of just at this point just do what I feel is right, and if I start having like algae outbreaks, then just either lower the actual intensity or lower the amount of time the light's on. But yeah, overall, I definitely like the tank. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I'll try to respond to it as soon as I can. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, check out Toasty Bros and Toasty Clips, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.